Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy, I'm pleased to be here today for several reasons. The one, of course, that we can meet in person again. It was a long time with Teams and Zoom and everything, which cannot replace meeting people, having interaction, talk to each other in person. But second, to give you an insight, was an old company, 170-year-old company, has to do with modern technology, with printed electronics, and where we want to go to. Heidelberg, I think, is well known to most people. I even say sometimes there's no printer in the world who doesn't know Heidelberg, and probably no one who could afford one wouldn't buy one. We are, since many, many years, a dominant company, however, in a shrinking market. Just to give you some figures, in the area of sheet-fed offset presses, which is the biggest printing technology today, Heidelberg owns 45% of the world market, 70% in Germany, 60% in America, 50% in China, and even in Japan, where we have one of our two big competitors, we have 25% market share. However, and we do that with 10,000 people, in the meantime even with less than 10,000 people, because we had to restructure, we had to size our company according to the market. We are very global. I can truly say there's no country where there is not one or many Heidelberg machines working, and the whole organization is global. More than 80% of our business we do outside of Germany. Profitability is not as good as it need to be, because in a shrinking market, with a shrinking company, it's difficult to make money, and that's why we have to change, and why we started to change significantly. The size of the company is round about 2 billion, and it's growing again after the COVID impact. We have a worldwide organization. More than 4,000 people don't work in Germany, they work all over the world and present our capabilities everywhere in the world. So, what does a company like Heidelberg has to do with electronics, with printed electronics, with digital things? And there I have to tell you, Heidelberg is not the standard machinery company who builds machines and buys the automation from Siemens and B&R and Fuji and from all the automation companies. Heidelberg is an automation company by itself. Heidelberg has strong electronic capabilities. Since many, many years, we develop all our automation by ourselves and we manufacture it ourselves. So starting with the power electronics, with the drive amplifiers, the controls, the HMI, the internet connector, the flow software, all is done by Heidelberg themselves, developed and produced. So Heidelberg is a true automation company with, of course, only one customer, which is Heidelberger printing presses, Heidelberger Druckmaschinen. And if you would look at the company size, the added value with that part of the business, it's somewhere between 400 and 500 million euros. So somewhat significant company with a very, very broad competence in manufacturing. Now, after restructuring, after considering that the printing business will not grow to the extent, even, it's wrong if everybody thinks print and paper is dead. That's not true. A lot of print is out there. The printing industry in the world, the print production volume, so what our customers do, is 400 billion. That's 10 times as big as the music industry, by the way. But there are some other things happening. Consolidation of our customers, structure is changing. Print, like books and brochures, are reducing. Packaging is growing. But overall, what happens, and that's the Heidelberg problem, our customers get more efficient, the machine get more efficient, so it's printed more with fewer machines. Very bad for Heidelberg, so we need to find new ways. And that's where we said we need to have new businesses aside of what we do in the print industry, and we developed a slogan for that: let's use our capabilities in digitalization, in electronics, and go for new businesses. We do that, of course, also for the Heidelberg business. These capabilities of Heidelberg have led to that Heidelberg is probably the most digitalized company in the machinery industry. So already in 2007, we had a control architecture which allowed us to connect all the machines all around the world to our service. And we get from a machine, in average, 4 billion data sets per year. And Heidelberg had already in 2007 a cloud where nobody knew that it was called cloud if you concentrate all on one external server. These capability we started to, in our transformation, into new businesses. Use the capabilities of Heidelberg to explore new areas, and we started very simple with wall boxes. Of course, it was not a big strategic decision in the beginning. It was that we had a lot of empty capacities in R&D, in manufacturing. So we started to manufacture, to develop and manufacture loading technology, charging technology for Porsche, for Bentley. But that, as you all know, is not really a fun business. To be a supplier or a supplier to the automotive industry is tough. Making money is difficult. So it was not really this pleasure business we wanted to see. Then our people, our own people said, why we don't do it ourselves? Heidelberg is a strong name and we can do it. So, we started with a MPV. We didn't have much money available for that, which was good. So our engineers had not much time. They didn't build the super wall box. We started with a very simple, very robust, very good wall box, and we had great success, mainly because it was robust, and Heidelberg knows how to industrialize. This story moved on quickly. Today, it is a very viable business. For Heidelberg, it will reach almost 50 million euro in sales this year already, and it's highly profitable. And we are now expanding our product portfolio, but also that is not the end. There is more to come, new businesses, of course. It's now about the operation of the charging station, creating a backbone. And a company like Heidelberg, who is a machinery builder, who is also an automation company, as I explained, who has, by the way, more software engineers than mechanical engineers, of course, can do these things. And we started to do that, fleet management, charging systems, but also the next step is energy management in the house, and then in the next step in the factories, because the world is going to need to become CO2 free. You need to use renewable energies, and last not least, it will be probably a DC world. But not only in e-mobility we started into new fields, even though this is a very good blueprint for our people to understand. If we enter with our capabilities into a growing market, we can be extremely successful, as Heidelberg was some 10, 15, 20 years ago when the printing market was growing. Heidelberg was the most dominant company and also very successful economical. So another area which is even closer to the Heidelberg capabilities is printed electronics. Because what does Heidelberg? Heidelberg is a printing company, so printing is an essential part of printed electronics, the manufacturing capabilities. And that, of course, in combination with the electronic and software capability, is a perfect match. And this is what brings old Heidelberg, 170-year-old Heidelberg, on the LOPEC in a field which is new, which is growing in the next years really tremendously. And we started also, we started a little bit slow on the R&D side. We basically, were shareholders of the Innovation Lab, brought in our capabilities. But in 2018, so not that long ago, we said, all right, now let's move forward. The time is ready to industrialize and we need new business as well, and that's an area where Heidelberg brings some to the party. We bring the printing technology, we bring the machinery, we bring the know-how of industrialization, and we can do also the whole electronics part of such complete systems. We had very good success. First product with Bosch, with the Oculus detection, was our lead customer. We moved forward. We put up a production site, clean room, production machine, because we believe the volume production is something which is starting now. And we, of course, started to do it right. We separated, we carved digital printing out. Heidelberg Printed Electronics is now an own company with own capabilities. We staffed up very nicely, and we offer now end-to-end solutions, not only the printed part, but systems which helps our customers to realize their projects. We found out that many interested customers don't have those capabilities. They have ideas what to do, but they can't do it by themselves. And as you learned before, Heidelberg is an automation company. We can bundle this together and will bundle this together to give our customers ready-to-use solutions. And I believe that will also push forward this industry. We are able to do customized solutions for all these areas which were just mentioned: logistics, medical, life science, whatever. But what we also can do, and that's of course I think somewhat unique, we can scale it up very quickly. We can come from functional samples very quickly to products and even to mass production at any volume we want, because Heidelberg is the best and the most capable printing company in the world, and capable to do the industrial printing, and allows us end-to-end solutions at any volume. And looking at our customer base today, we see already a lot of good projects coming up, projects which look very, very promising, and I believe next year or in 2 years we can report here that the business is growing significantly. The automotive market is also becoming a very interesting target for printed electronics, and is, as we believe, one of the key markets in the future. And this has several reasons. One is, of course, the automotive market is in a disruption, the e-mobility, but also the car is not just a driving unit, it becomes also a electronic device. If you look at, the Teslas, whatever, they're more an iPhone with wheels than a car, and that is the trend where everybody has to go to. So there is a big disruption, and disruption always is good and helpful for new technology, and we can spur this disruption. Autonomous driving, still a long way to go, but it will come, the assistance systems, and this requires sensors, mass sensors, and the sensors we have today are way too expensive that they can be used in volume. So massive sensorization is a scheme, and this plays in the hands of printed electronics, as you all know. The need of comfort and safety, as I mentioned, a car is less and less just a vehicle to go from A to B, but it's also a communication instrument. All that requires a lot of sensors and changes the world how cars look like. Cars will look different in future. We see that already, and there are many areas where sensors are needed, which we can supply. These are all the control elements, the steering wheel, Mr. Miltner mentioned, touch and proximity sensors everywhere in the car, many safety features. Then the cable, the cables are very heavy. Lightweight cables would be a very, very important thing, and you don't need heavy cables for information. You might need them, of course, for power, but that's very concentrated. printed LED systems are thinkable, battery management, battery health management systems, heating elements, and more. These are all areas we are working already today, very intense. And we brought here to the show, we brought 2 examples. The one is a module which helps to optimize the lithium-ion battery module, which is of course the core of today's electrical vehicles, and used from all major brands, and all they fighting with charging faster without destroying the battery, increase the lifetime, increase the reach of the cars. All that is still not good enough for usage all over the world and in every situation. So that's again one of the areas where we can help with a monitoring system and help developing better batteries, which lead to a much better performance at the end. And of course, Heidelberg can not only produce the sensor films, we can produce the electronics and the whole integrated system end to end for our customers in the automotive industry. These are areas where Heidelberg really can contribute with its joint capabilities, and I believe there is a significant business to come in the next years. The electric cars, the battery cars, they are decided they will come, they will replace combustion engines very quickly. So the batteries are one, I think, very good example where a company like Heidelberg with its capabilities can provide solutions which help to improve the technique and give us better products. But also other areas in the car are very, very interesting. As I mentioned, autonomous driving requires massive sensorization, and we have also a sample with us, car seat systems, which of course is nothing really new. The occupancy detection is something which is already standard, but you could do more because you need more differentiated data for really understanding the driver position and everything to support safety systems. So we can do that with a printed sensor matrix, allows to give you extended comfort and safety functions. Also, this is something we can show with a seat made by Recaro. You can see that on our booth. It shows the different positions, what is the situation, how is the load, do you lean left, do you lean back, even acceleration you can basically detect and measure. I think it is one good example how we can harvest the data we need for more comfort and safety for the digitalization of the cars. That's in the short what Heidelberg can contribute to printed electronics. It is one of our key elements for future growth, where Heidelberg uses its capabilities outside of the print media industry. And for Heidelberg, it is a win-win situation, because if we can use our R&D capabilities also for new areas, we don't not only create growth, we can also afford in future basically these capabilities for our printing business. And that leads to basically the vision of Heidelberg. Heidelberg transforms from the best printing press manufacturer to a technology company who also or still makes the world's best printing presses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rainer Hundsdörfer, for this exciting talk about the movement and transformation of Heidelberg as a printing company to technology provider in a way. Are there questions from the audience?
Thank you very much for this very interesting talk. So actually own in Heidelberg, so so I understand what's happening here. So if I just wanted to confirm that I understood well, so the entity that you created will become a manufacturer. Is that correct?
It is manufacture, of course, as well as R&D, everything.
And
we will provide solutions from the idea to the product, which we can deliver to an automotive manufacturer, medical device manufacturer, whatever, yes.
Okay, I understand. And I also have a question. So Heidelberg as an automation and printing press manufacturer, what could be your advice for SMEs that wants to turn to printing electronic manufacturing, but also 4.0 industry?
I believe there is a good way to team up with other companies, because you need certain critical mass if you want to get in manufacturing. And I think one thing, we are open to work with everybody in this industry, because I'm a very strong believer in collaboration. Times have changed where everybody does this in a small box. The idea is very broad, so collaboration, I think, is the right way to go. And also, Heidelberg Printed Electronic is open for collaboration, so we even would, for SMEs, probably produce, manufacture for them if that is something a smaller company cannot manage themselves. We are open to these things.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, thank you. Any further question? Maybe I can ask one myself. Yeah, if you move there, maybe I ask one in the middle, in between. What do you consider? I know printing as something which is, I'm just quoting someone telling, printing is betraying the human eye. If it's looking good, it's good enough. Printed electronics a bit different. What do you see as the challenge for a printing company doing functional printing?
I think it's a completely different approach. Functional printing, as you say, is not that it only looks good, but one thing is in common, the need of precision. To betray the human eye needs really extreme precision, and that goes hand in hand with functional printing. What is different, of course, all the substrates are different, and what comes with it. So there is the major difference for the printing process, but the same thing, precision we need on both sides.
There was another question.
Yes. Hello, I'm Gaël Després, R&D Director of Arjo Wiggins, and also a board member of the French Printing Electronic Association. In fact, I have two questions. The first is you are willing to do printing electronics as a service, but is your final objective is to sell also a printing machine for printing electronics? And my second question is which techniques do you use to do printing electronics?
Now, of course, Heidelberg is printing press manufacturer. But because the market is very small and it is very specific technologies, so far we print ourselves. We offer this as a service. But I could also imagine down the road that there might be models where we also sell or including the technology, printing presses, basically on a license basis or whatever. So we don't know yet what the business models are, but we will do everything which makes sense from a business point of view and a technical business. To offer, printing services, that's what we already do today. If you want to get something printed, some electronics, please come to us. We look if we can do it. We gladly produce also for other printed electronic companies as well. Our goal, of course, is more and more to offer really complete end-to-end solutions, not just the sensors, maybe complete solutions, because Heidelberg has those capabilities. But this does not include that we would also, use it as a printing or would offer printing services as well.
Okay. And on the printing techniques do you use at the moment?
We use basically all the typical printing techniques, screen printing, offset printing. Heidelberg has all printing technology in-house, and we apply them as it makes sense for the task.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, with that, I would like to close this session for this talk. Thank you, Rainer Hundsdörfer, again.
My pleasure.
Let's appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.